data is the spark that brings meaning to our industrial efforts. It drives our search for patterns, the discovery of hidden details, and our ability to apply knowledge. The Simio Digital Twin is an object-based, data-driven 3D animated simulation model of operational processes. The digital twin is generated from data-producing sources to deepen our understanding of processes and to enrich every aspect of our lives. Exciting things happen when you use the Simio Digital Twin to put your real-time data first, while technology fades into the background. Whereas typical simulation applications focus solely on the design of the system, the Simio Digital Twin can be used to both design and operate your system in one application. It changes the way we see the world, enabling us to bring positive change to the world we see. The Simio Digital Twin is versatile and applied across industries. The Simio Digital Twin leverages open architecture that puts your data at the front, center, and in the spotlight. It leverages data from your MES, ERP, and IoT frameworks to optimize your capacity planning, remote monitoring, and scheduling strategies through real-time analysis. The Simio Digital Twin is fully generated and driven by the enterprise data, allowing it to automatically adapt to changes in the environment, such as adding or removing equipment, revised labor skill and shift requirements, new part introduction, etc. It simulates into the future to provide predictive and prescriptive analysis of the system to provide a fully forward-looking view of the expected production and delivery performance of the factory. This allows the Simio Digital Twin to generate a detailed, feasible operational schedule, including all the relevant resource task lists and associated material requirements at each point in the process. The Simio Digital Twin creates a world without boundaries, a forward-thinking virtual world you could use to gain insight into current problems or peer into the future. It empowers administrators with a digital transformation tool to generate actionable models and to optimize resource allocations to improve healthcare delivery systems and patient care. The Simio Digital Twin provides industries with dynamic processes with a digital transformation tool to gain insight from real-time data. The analysis it provides enables planners to assess supply chain and logistics-related risks to proactively mitigate them by applying just-in-time delivery strategies or by generating new strategies. The Simio Digital Twin gives you an edge over the competition by turning supply chain and logistics uncertainties into certainties through detailed scheduling and real-time monitoring. Enriching every aspect of our lives is the goal of adopting digital transformation. Applying the Simio Digital Twin brings order out of chaotic processes through highly accurate real-time analysis. The Digital Twin provides accurate decision support for the continuous improvement of transportation systems. Planners across the aerospace and transportation industries, including airlines and ports, are empowered with a real-time analytical tool to develop highly accurate prescriptive and predictive analytics to optimize your operations. Applying the digital transformative capabilities of the Simio Digital Twin goes beyond the commercial world into academia. Simio's academic programs are built around preparing STEM students to apply digital transformation solutions in the real world. Our academic program includes grants for institutions offering simulation modeling and scheduling coursework software, and the largest simulation modeling students competition across the globe. The Simio Student Simulation Competition is a biannual competition where over 10,000 students have competed in the past 5 years. Industry 4.0 and the Smart Factory is an idea whose time has come and the Simio digital twin is a critical component as part of the digital transformation. Learn more about the Simio digital twin transformative powers at simio.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to everyone joining us virtually from around the world for our 4th annual Simio Sync conference. I'm Dennis Pegden, the founder and CEO of Simio. I'm talking to you today from Simio's headquarters in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was looking forward to seeing old friends and meeting new ones at this year's annual conference, but much like the theme of this year's conference, we needed to adapt to new ways of working. We look forward to returning to an in-person event next year, but for this year we have built Simio Sync around a 100% virtual experience that we hope you will enjoy. Despite our shared challenges over the last year and a half, Simio has experienced unprecedented growth. This year's conference will highlight how Simio is growing by helping global organizations across industries digitally transform, which is strengthening their ability to react and succeed even during these turbulent times. Simio has come a long way since I wrote the first line of code for our discrete event simulation engine over 12 years ago. I'm proud of the journey Simio has undertaken in partnership with our customers, unlocking value from data, helping create more agile and robust systems, and rethinking ways of working. This journey is the genesis of the theme, Digital Transformation, for the Simio Sync 2021 conference. I'm very excited by this year's conference. By combining the mission-critical topic of digital transformation with Simio's growing presence in commercial organizations and academic institutions around the world, all of us coming together has created the largest event in Simio's history with over 1,000 attendees. To reflect the importance and timeliness of the conference's theme, we have built an agenda that spans 3 days of presentations, interactive Q&A, roundtable discussions, and networking opportunities for all of you on the front line of digital transformation. On behalf of the whole Simio team, I would like to thank each of our presenters and all of you in attendance for participating in this year's Simio Sync conference. We hope that you will hear and experience this week will inspire you in your digital transformation journey. With that said, I declare Simio Sync 2021 open for business. Let the journey begin.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, depending on the time zone you're in. I'm Sachin Lulla with EY, and I'm really grateful to kick off the Simio Digital Transformation Conference this year. My role at EY is I lead our consulting business in the Americas for our advanced manufacturing and mobility sector, as well as serve as the transformation architect across some of our largest and most complex transformation engagements. I want to firstly thank Simio, our partner, to give us the opportunity to be a part of this opportunity and allow me to do the opening keynote for this conference. And again, thankful for all of you that have logged in to listen to this session. If we go to the next slide, just a quick disclaimer, being an accounting firm, obviously the opinions expressed are mine. I plan to share my EY experience with all of you on the topic of digital transformation. And really what I hope today is the key takeaways for all of you will be, number one, how the pandemic has made something that was already important now urgent. Why do most digital transformations fail? We keep hearing about the word pilot purgatory. I'll try my best to at least put that in context of our experience and what we are seeing working with hundreds of clients in manufacturing. And then lastly, what we call, how do you build a bridge from now to next and beyond? Most manufacturing companies are grappling with what we call the duality of growth, which is how do you optimize the business of today, yet transform the future and drive a new growth agenda by applying digital and emerging technologies. The fourth industry revolution is already here, and we've been talking about it for quite some time now. So it's not a new topic. What's interesting with the pandemic is as 8 billion people switch their preferences overnight about where they live and how they work, that's driven an unprecedented change in the future of work and created a significant digital divide between companies that had invested in digital capabilities prior to COVID or not. It was a wake-up call for most. What's interesting is the mega trends that we've been focused on as an industry, whether it's dramatic shifting customer expectations, accelerating technology advancement and adoption, blurring of lines between industries as we are continuing to see participants from outside the traditional industry boundaries disrupting 100-year-old companies. And finally, the rising pressures around sustainability, whether that's regulation, incentives, or consumer expectations, are all converging. And with the pandemic, what has happened is the S curve of innovation, we believe, has significantly shifted, which means companies that are not thinking about transformation and adopting technology to drive a massive shift in their focus and how they operate will be left behind. This is a multi-generational shift that has occurred where companies that don't innovate will no longer be here. As we've talked to 300 plus CEOs of the Fortune Global 2000, what's interesting is there's a clear divide between executive leaders that recognize this opportunity, are doubling down on investing in digital transformation and really making transformation and a growth agenda a big focus for how they operate. And then there are companies that have shifted their focus completely on cost takeout. As you can see from the chart on the left of this slide, what's interesting is there's a clear divide between companies that are investing and thriving versus companies that are focused on purely cost takeout are really not seeing the benefits at scale. They plateau at some point and are unable to drive continuous improvement. What's interesting is while 65% of the CEOs say they will invest more in transformation over the next 3 years than they have in the last 3, their priorities are more or less aligned, we continue to hear five major themes come up in all of our conversations. The most common theme is, how do we put the customer at the center of everything we do? Most manufacturing companies are B2B companies and have sold their products through distribution channels and partners, and have really never had the connection with the end customer or consumer. As customers have shifted their preferences online, which are here to stay, even B2B customers are expecting a B2C like experience. And companies have to shift their focus from becoming a B2B company to a B2B2C company and really delivering an experience that drives personalization with every touch point they have with the customer. The second big area is supply chain, which obviously all of you continue to read the headlines every day, whether it's the microchip shortage or the Suez Canal being blocked or the cost of container continuing to rise. The supply chain clearly has been disrupted. And we are seeing companies reconfigure their supply chains from just in time to just in case, redesigning their entire network with building more optionality with local sources of supply to avoid what's happened with the pandemic. It's no longer about minimizing cost and outsourcing everything to the Far East or to Asia Pacific. It's more about finding the right balance between cost, risk, and service. The third area is the future of work, which again, I think, especially in our industry, is a very critical topic. Not only has hybrid work become a reality with remote work, remote operations becoming a must-have. What's interesting is with the retiring workforce in manufacturing, it has become even more harder to retain the tribal knowledge as we look at transforming manufacturing, especially in the Americas, with talent going to more high-tech firms as opposed to coming to manufacturing. Lastly, the topic of sustainability continues to become more and more critical. Whether you're a mobility company and are looking to pivot from a combustion engine to all electrification with the regulations and incentives that have been launched aggressively during COVID, or you're a manufacturing company that is also trying to drive a green footprint, whether it's your products or your supply chain, sustainability clearly is top of mind of most C-suite executives. And lastly, digital transformation, which really impacts how you can accelerate all of these other objectives, is become a board mandate. We have a team called Center for Board Matters at EY, and they're 100% focused on driving board level conversations on critical topics like digital transformation. And we are starting to see more and more boards requesting a deeper understanding of how do you drive value at scale with digital transformation, and how should digital be driving the growth agenda, not just driving operational efficiency across the enterprise. While everybody is focused on transformation, if you look at the right-hand side of this chart, another survey that EY did where we benchmarked 500 manufacturing companies and how in their transformation journey, how successful they've been either driving operational excellence or digital automation across the enterprise. What's interesting is out of the 500, only 30 of them are actually leading and have deployed operational excellence combined with digital automation at scale, whether it's in transforming customer experience or driving supply chain visibility and resilience, or looking at the future of work or driving sustainable supply chains. What's interesting is 50 of them are stuck in what we call pilot purgatory. They jumped in to implement digital technologies and experiment with them without really having a clear vision and strategy tied to clear business outcomes linked to their corporate strategy, and have been unable to scale their digital transformation efforts. What we see in our industry is 400 plus of these companies we benchmarked and surveyed are still figuring out, where do we start? What are others doing? How can we learn from what others have done to accelerate digital transformation across the enterprise? So most companies are in this bottom left quadrant as a beginner, while most other companies that have started their journey have either taken just a lean first approach, rolling out a lean Kaizen operational excellence model across their manufacturing facilities, or taking a technology first approach. We at EY believe you need to combine the two and take a people centric approach to become a data driven company to truly drive digital transformation at scale. So, why do digital transformations fail? Harvard Business Review did a study recently where they said $1.3 trillion was spent on digital transformation, and 900 billion of that was wasted in pilots that did not scale. And there are clear reasons behind why this is happening, as we've engaged with hundreds of companies as part of the benchmarking surveys we've done to understand some of the lessons they've learned as part of their transformation efforts. Whether you talk to the board, which is, again, like I said, looking at driving digital transformation at scale, to the CEO, the CFO, both looking at how do you optimize the business of today and find a way to fund the transformation agenda of tomorrow, with the CIO, Chief Digital Officer, and CTO looking at how do we partner with the business to truly create a business-led digital transformation strategy and agenda, to HR that is looking at how do we become a magnet for the new skills we need to scale digital transformation in manufacturing. Everybody is grappling with a set of different questions. Unless we align these stakeholders to a common vision, it is very, very hard to drive digital transformation at scale. There are 5 key themes that have emerged, what we call 5 to thrive, just to keep things simple given the limited time we have today, that I'll walk through. The number one theme is a transformation roadmap that is enterprise-wide and links the business and the digital strategy, is typically missing as we talk to companies that have taken on a digital transformation journey. Second, I think most companies lack an unbiased understanding of their current state and maturity. Just like any journey, you need to know where you're going and what your starting point is. Most companies don't have that clear picture across the entire enterprise, and that's why their roadmap typically is not realistic. The third area is ROI. Without a business case, no matter how cool applying AI, machine learning, or any of the emerging technologies is, you should not proceed. And we'll talk a little bit about, how do you drive an ROI-enabled transformation. Fourthly, again, I think a transformation and benefits realization office that spans beyond just having a traditional PMO approach is not optional. It's a must-have. I continue to see companies and clients not invest in a dedicated transformation office, and that is a must-have. And I'll talk about some of the statistics on why transformations fail that do not invest in a transformation office. And lastly, no matter how good your strategy is, at the end of the day, without the people to support it, to execute it, the experience you create for your employees that truly will own the customer experience you as a company will deliver is absolutely critical. And that comes from one thing, that is the culture you establish, which starts from the top. As they say, culture eats strategy for lunch. Irrespective of the strategy you have, if you don't get this right, everything else will fail. So I'll walk through these 5 things and give you a little more context of what we have learned engaging with many of our clients on their transformation journeys. The first point I'd like to make is most companies, as they start their transformation journey, either jump in too quickly to experiment with digital technologies. If you think of a typical journey in 3 phases, plan value, prove value, and scale value, what we are starting to see is companies jump to prove value very, very quickly and get stuck in pilot purgatory. At the same time, do not recognize the importance of plan value and really taking a holistic approach that is business outcomes led as they embark on this transformation journey. Just like when a rocket takes off, it burns 80% of its fuel during takeoff and 20% the rest of the journey. Similarly, companies that are truly embarking on a transformation journey must take the time to take a holistic approach to planning their transformation journey. And what that means is whether they're transforming their product strategy, the customer experience, or focused on operations. Ideally, it's taking an enterprise-wide approach across all of these 3, very tightly linked to the corporate strategy of the company. The way we do this at EY is with a process called future back, because most clients start to take an incremental approach based on where they are today, as opposed to looking 10 years out with a clear understanding of what their vision is, what their purpose is, what business model will be required to capitalize on the market opportunities in the future, what capabilities will they build, buy, or partner, and have an ecosystem approach to these capabilities should really feed into their digital roadmap before they embark on any experimentation, proving out the value behind digital. Let me give you a clear example. One of our clients had embarked on applying AI machine learning to their pricing strategy because they felt, given the uptick in demand with COVID, with what they had seen, by applying AI machine learning, they could drive more intelligent pricing across their entire product portfolio. But the results were the opposite of that. As we looked at the details, what was interesting is they did not even have clear customer segmentation defined. They treated every customer the same. Their sales force was siloed by business unit, which means they sold products independent of each other. And if a customer had more than one product that they sold, they were not really incented to cross-sell or upsell. And that was a huge limitation before they could apply AI machine learning for pricing intelligence. So we first had to address some of these building blocks before they could apply AI machine learning to drive intelligent pricing. So the point I'm trying to make is with digital transformation, you have to link your digital strategy to your business strategy. One of the quick example is a company based on this approach actually realized that growth will come from focusing on the commercial sector as opposed to the residential sector. And in order to do that, they had to not only connect all their products so they could drive outcome-led business models, but more importantly, to even be a player in the commercial space, they had to address 4-hour lead times. Now, this was a company that was built to order. They got an order, took 12 days and fulfilled that order every time on time. But in order to scale their business and commercial and drive a new growth agenda, they actually had to redesign their supply chain network. And for the first time, have distribution sites in their network that could deliver to 4-hour lead times in all urban areas where their commercial customers resided. What that meant is for the first time, they had to shift their supply chain model to a build to stock model, carry inventory at their distribution sites, and they had to invest in digital planning capabilities, in automating their factories, as well as automating these distribution sites, which is, again, a clear example of how your business strategy should drive your digital strategy, not the other way around. As you take this future back approach, like I said, there are clear building blocks to how you define your strategy. We at EY tend to look at it as a journey from now to next and beyond. And the way you build the bridge from now to next and beyond, like I said, is by applying the future back process, working backwards to understand the business-led capabilities you need to invest in, where digital technologies can truly drive significant business value and clear ROI. Just like the example I gave you about the company that was focused on driving growth in their commercial business, redesigning their network to a 3-step distribution model. In the now, we introduced AI machine learning, taking customer point of sale data that they always had, but they never used, to actually drive a more accurate statistical forecast so they could position the right products at these distribution sites to deliver within their 4-hour lead times and start to scale their commercial business, which is going through rapid growth. In the next, we laid out as they optimize their factories to build both residential and commercial products with the limited capacity they have in the now, while they start to add more greenfield facilities, applying Simio's digital twin capabilities to actually run simulations on how they can optimize the throughput of the existing line, minimize bottlenecks, and really redesign their existing facilities to drive maximum throughput to scale their commercial business while still fulfilling their commitments on residential orders. This is how a now, next, and beyond approach, beyond leading to a zero loss, zero touch, autonomous future 10 years out, is how this journey was laid out, again, tied to very clear business outcomes and linked directly to their corporate growth strategy. The point I made earlier was, in order to accomplish all of this, most companies need to also have an unbiased understanding of their starting point, which requires obviously some investment upfront. What we've seen with the benchmarking surveys that we've executed is most companies overestimate their level of maturity, and that's why underestimate the level of investments they need to make in the now to truly be able to scale digital technologies. As you can see from some of these quotes, typically when we interview key stakeholders, some of the common themes we hear are we are driving looking in the rearview mirror. Our KPIs across business units are inconsistent. We don't even measure success the same way. A lot of our activities are done manually. Yes, we have great people and a culture that's focused on customer outcomes, and we always get the job done. But what that means is we have a hero mentality, and people are overworked. We have multiple shifts. And again, with the tribal knowledge leaving manufacturing, this is a huge risk that people continue to operate manually rather than make data driven decisions fueled by technology enabled investments. And lastly, the common theme is we need more people, we need more capital investment and more equipment, more capacity. When by applying digital technologies, you can actually unlock capacity in your existing environment, what we call the hidden factory, by applying capabilities that our partners like Simio bring to the table that no longer take months, but in weeks you can start to see results as you take the now, next, beyond approach, depending on your level of maturity. Clearly, if you have no connectivity, you need to first invest in connectivity. But even before technology, sometimes there are operating model limitations which you need to address first. Most companies have inconsistent processes. There are no standard operating procedures, and even if they are manual binders on the shop floor that are very difficult to follow for somebody new unless you've been in that job function for years, which is what drives quality problems as well. Digital work instructions, applying AR, VR, and immersive technologies are easy ways to, again, automate work instructions to drive consistent processes and KPIs. And then eventually you start to build a culture of continuous improvement that drives zero loss and eventually leads to zero touch with digital first capabilities. Lastly, with all of these efforts combined, your focus needs to be on the ROI for every initiative. Like I said, most companies are taking a siloed approach by business unit or business function, not an enterprise-wide approach to creating their digital transformation roadmap. We have seen a lot of success if companies in the plan value phase develop a transformation roadmap that cuts across the entire enterprise. So you start with a clear understanding of the now, with a clear vision of the beyond, and build a roadmap that connects your now, next, and beyond with an ROI for every single initiative. If the ROI is not there, do not invest in that initiative. Of course, besides the ROI, there are some logical dependencies you have to keep in mind. As an example, you don't jump to predictive maintenance day one. You start with visibility around your existing operations and KPI, real-time visibility, leading to preventative maintenance, then predictive, and finally prescriptive, which leads to autonomous in the future. All of this is, again, needs to be based on ROI that you create for your customers, your employees, and more importantly, for the greater good, with sustainability and the environment becoming a very, very key focus for the C-suite. The energy optimization you can drive by applying digital technologies is significant as well. So your focus on your transformation roadmap needs to be on all these levers that together drive long-term value. And at the end of the day, once you take a data-driven approach that is ROI-led to your transformation, very quickly you can pivot in the prove value phase to investments that drive the highest value. And if they do not drive value in the pilot phase, you need to stop those initiatives and move on to other initiatives that can truly drive value at scale across the enterprise. The next point is the importance of a transformation and benefit realization office. This is not your traditional PMO. This is a dedicated cross-functional enterprise-wide team that not only focuses on a programmatic and disciplined approach to transformation, but also benefit realization. This is the team that creates the business case with the finance teams embedded in this transformation office. Not only do they create the business case to create and inform your transformation roadmap, but as you start to design and pilot these initiatives, they continue to update the business case with the actual results of every pilot, hence the term transformation and benefit realization office. A transformation is not a one time exercise, it's an ongoing journey, which is why compromising on a transformation and benefit realization office, which we've seen most companies underinvest in, is a clear reason why a lot of digital transformations do not scale. They start to suboptimize, invest in programs that are not driving ROI. They run into 34% of them actually do redundant work and uncoordinated projects. 44% of them actually go over budget, and almost the same percentage do not get delivered on time. So again, invest in a transformation and benefit realization office. The last point I'll make in the end, like I said, it's all about the people. People need to be at the center of your transformation. Besides technology at scale, innovation at speed, we at EY believe a human-centered approach is critical to realizing your transformation efforts. And while you connect your equipment, your factories, your supply chain, your products to become more data-driven, in the end, the decisions and the actions will be taken by the people. And if they don't trust the data, no matter how much you invest in technology, none of this will ever drive value at scale. Like the chart on the right, most people want change, but change is not easy. There is no easy button. You have to create a culture of continuous improvement, and that comes from the top. Every leader needs to set the tone. And in the end, if you have the right vision across the enterprise that connects the shop floor to the top floor with the right culture to go drive the end-to-end transformation with the right ROI, you will see tremendous value in adopting digital technologies at scale. Just to summarize the 5 to thrive lessons that I shared today that hopefully resonate with all of you. Like I said, the first one is you need to have an enterprise-wide transformation roadmap that directly links your digital strategy to your corporate strategy. You must start with an unbiased understanding of your current state maturity. You need an ROI and a business case for every initiative. If it doesn't have a clear ROI, don't do it. Invest in a dedicated cross-functional transformation and benefit realization office with finance tied to the hip as you take a disciplined approach to your transformation journey. And lastly, create a culture, a high-performing culture with a human-centered approach to your transformation efforts. Hopefully this was relevant and useful for all of you. We at EY also believe every transformation begins with an inspiration. It's important to step out of your day-to-day environment and get bogged down by the limitations of today. Like I said, a future-back approach is critical to starting your transformation journey. We at EY are extremely excited to announce the launch of our EY Nottingham Spoke Innovation Hub that will create a world-class innovation facility where, together with our ecosystem partners like Simio, we will co-create your transformation journey and scale digital transformation together. We look forward to welcoming you at EY Nottingham Spoke and becoming a partner in your transformation journey. A big thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you today. And again, good luck with your transformation journeys. Thank you.
The world is moving faster and faster. As a leader, your customers, employees, and shareholders look to you to drive growth, create value, and chart the path forward. But in today's rapidly changing world, the playing field shifts almost daily. Even the most innovative companies need to adapt and pivot to maintain their edge, and the demands to succeed are clear. The EY Nottingham Spurk Innovation Hub can help you meet these challenges. The hub is centered on a dedicated space in Cleveland, Ohio, offering in-person and virtual experiences. It combines the global power of EY and leading innovation firm Nottingham Spurk with resources from our extensive ecosystem of technology and business partners. At its core, the hub seeks to centralize the best of this collective group and together help you address your toughest challenges head-on. The hub's customer-centric design solutions help us hyper-focus on a problem and solve it at speed in a real-world production environment. Driven by EY WaveSpace methodologies, we evaluate your strategic agenda across 5 fundamental pillars of successful enterprises. Together, we'll work through business-led modules that use storytelling and the latest technology to bring solutions to life through hands-on, rapid prototyping. Whether you're looking to identify your next billion-dollar business or product, or develop your digital strategy and roadmap, the hub is here to help. Ultimately, the goal of this immersive journey is to identify opportunities for growth and help you deploy them in the real world. There's no better or faster way to turn great ideas into real business outcomes. Together, we're ready to help you reimagine the way you do business, carve a new path to market leadership, and build a better working world. Tackle your biggest challenges and ignite your business growth with the EY Nottingham Spurk Innovation Hub.
This concludes this presentation. Please click on the back button to access the next presentation.